All right, well, welcome back to the P18 podcast. Our guest today is Mrs. Norma Rios. Mrs. Rios is our department chair for world languages here at Perry High School. So thank you for taking the time today to be with us.
Of course, my pleasure.
So I have some questions for you, all things that we're going to talk about Perry High School. So I'm going to fire them your way and let us know what your answers are, okay?
That's good.
So question number one, can you share a little bit about your journey and how you came to be a part of Perry High School?
So I am what people would call an OG. I started when Perry first opened 18 years ago. I was at a different high school. I met with Dan Serrano at a coffee shop, and his first question to me was, can you coach? Because we needed coaches. And so I'm the original palm. We had a spirit line, and we didn't have the palm and cheer separation. And so I felt really fortunate to walk into a room there was 20 of us. The admin building existed, and we kind of see physically pop up the gym and the other buildings. And I thought it was a really cool thing to start a school. First day of school, we don't really have a lot of things, but we have furniture and we have kids, and it was a really unique experience. I don't know if I would do it again. It was a lot of work, but it definitely taught me the beginnings of, opening a school and curriculum. So I'm very thankful for having had the opportunity to do that.
Okay, so I'll tell the follow-up question. All right. Which coffee shop was it?
It was a Starbucks. Yeah.
Starbucks.
6:30 in the morning before my job at Corona. Yeah. And I was very excited that, they had a daycare here and I hadn't started a family yet. So the prospect of bringing my own kids to my workplace was a really unique experience.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So in your job, what does a typical day look like for you?
So I think I have the unique perspective of I'm a parent and a teacher. So when Perry first opened, I started a family at Perry. 18 years later, I now have a junior here. I have a freshman in here. And so my junior drives me into work, and I'll spare you the morning drive. And I think that's a unique perspective that I get to see their world. I get to see their friends, but I also get to see other, that kind of being in two different worlds, I think is really unique. And I feel super lucky because I do have parents ask me questions. What does it feel like to have your kids go with you to work? And I said, it's very unique. How many parents would love, a sneak peek into their kids' high school experience? And I have that. Sometimes I feel like I'm too in it.
Right.
And it's exhausting, but I don't know if I would trade it. I think it's unique. And then I come to work and I teach 4 levels of Spanish, AP 4, 5, 6, Spanish 2. And in language specifically, I feel like you're busy from bell to bell because we try and target speaking, reading, writing. And so time is super important. Plus we're competing with technology. Kids can go on Babbel now and learn Spanish in 15 days. And so I think we have to stay current. We have to stay relevant, and we have to be fun. That's part of the language experience. So my day is busy. You adjust and pivot, right, with technology. But I think it's unique that I'm also a teacher and a mom here. And I like it. I love it. Not every single day, but most days.
Most days, right?
Yeah.
So what part of your job would people be surprised to know about?
I think the amount of questions that you are asked in a single class, the amount of times that you are needed, the amount of times that you hear a name from Señora to my children come in, Mom. I think that feeling of, kids need specific things, and your ability to just pivot and change and adjust, you have to be, I would say, 10 steps ahead in a high school classroom, especially when dealing with technology and incoming freshmen. But I feel fortunate that I have, we call it a bag of tricks. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I feel that I've adjusted and pivoted as much as I could. There are days that I struggle with a lot of the technology, but I think we're working through it. But I think the day is busy and it's challenging, but every time I look at the clock, I think, oh my gosh, it's 1:30. Our day is so fast, and I think that's unique to our job.
Okay. Let's pivot for just a second to a different style of question. So if you could have dinner with any historical figure, could be past, could be somebody present, who would it be, and why would you choose them?
Historical figures. I like people that are change makers, people that affect, big change in large groups. I think Martin Luther King is so unique in that, he affected change for an entire generation. We have days of celebration of his change. And I think someone that has that kind of power, just how unique to be able to sit at a dinner with him and his wife and his children, to talk to him and ask him, where did your dream start? Like, where did you say this has to change? And I think that's important for us to know where he started and, his unfortunate end, but the impact that he had on, to this day now. So I think someone like that, a change maker.
Fantastic. Let's see. What do you wish that more people understood about Perry?
I was standing at our last assembly, and I was watching our athletes come through the tunnel, and we're celebrating our athletes, and we're watching our unified sports kids, and then we're watching our pom and dance team, and then we're watching our theater kids. And I turned to a colleague, and I have goosebumps. I said, how unique that we house all of these different kids, and we meet all of their needs, and we nurture them, and we discipline them, and we love on them, and we give them tough love. And I think there's no other space that has that ability and the opportunity to change those kids specifically, and that each kid finds a place. If you are a theater kid, you are going to find a place. If you are a child that plays sports, you are going to find a place. So I think there's a place for everybody, not just at Perry, but, we hope that that's the premise of every Chandler school. But I thought this is so, and we celebrated every single act that came through, and everyone was cheering. And I thought that was very, I wish parents could see that their child was being celebrated in their own unique talent. And I think that's really special, that they feel that they have a place here in this, small but tiny school. Yeah.
Fantastic. Because I am in charge, one of the things I get to be in charge of on this campus are the assemblies. That is a perspective that I haven't quite thought about, but you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So we all have choices about where we can work. What makes Perry the place for you?
I think I feel really invested at Perry. I opened Perry. I now have children that attend Perry. And I think, I've seen the progress. I've seen the purpose. And for me, I want to, I always make it a goal if I'm out in the community. And I'm always proud to say that I work at Perry and my children attend Perry, because I think it's a very unique school that it is big. We house 2,300
2,400 or so. Yep.
But our classes feel small. There's communities of language. There's the math community, and I think that's a very unique experience to Perry. That kids still tell me, I know it's a big school, but it doesn't feel like it. I think we really tried as a staff, or at least in world language, to make kids feel like when you're in language class, you are going to feel that you belong here, that you are going to learn, and that we are going to take you to the next level. So I think my level of investment as Perry is, I want to see it. I want to see what the next step is until, whenever I retire or whenever.
You're not retired.
No, whenever my time is up.
You're not moving.
Yeah. And so I think that's it. I think I'm just invested in making sure that we are always at our best, which is hard to do, right? We've peaked and now we maintain. And so how do we do that and maintain as a really unique and amazing school?
Okay. And finally, as we close this piece of the PA Team podcast, is there anything else about Perry, maybe about world languages, something that you want to make sure everybody knows about that we haven't talked about already?
Every time I have friends that, they want to know the scoop of, tell me about Perry. What do you know about the other high schools? But one of the things I tell them is when you come to Perry, you will always feel like you're part of a community. And I say that because I really feel that. I mean, I've seen from us to a small school to peaking at 3,000 to, coming down, to 2,400. And you will never find more support in not just admin, but in our small community of, world language teachers. And I do feel that when I come here, I'm very lucky to work with the people that I work with. And I'm super lucky to have my children have amazing teachers. And I think it's just part of being of an amazing community. I do feel super lucky that I was hired by Dan 18 years ago. And now, Heather, who's equally amazing. But I think just that it's investing in something that I knew would be great, but now I'm seeing it. And I can't give people the 18 years that we've been through, but I always tell them, if you send your child to Perry, I promise you they will find their tribe at their time, and they will find their passion, and they will find whatever makes them, successful. So I think we at least try in language to make sure that every kid feels that they belong here. And listen, while we're at it, learn a second language. And so I think promoting that to me is super important, especially being vested as the AP language teacher. I think making kids world citizens, understanding that there's a world that extends past these walls. There's worlds that, exist in Spanish-speaking countries that we've never seen. So my recommendation to my students is to travel and take off your blinders and see the world in a different perspective and feel like you are lost because you'll find your way back.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Ms. Norma Rios, thank you again for
course.
taking some time today to be part of the PA Team podcast.
All right. Thank you.